da 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 da. Come on. Hello. You should be able to come in. Come in. Come in. Come in. Hello. 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 Where you at? You gotta unmute yourself, and I gotta see your mic, Sista Fabu.
I did all that. I'll start video.
There you go. Wow. Yo, 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 yo.
My lighting is always off. I'm looking like a silhouette. Well, I'll just have to be your silhouette.
That's okay. That's beautiful. See, I finally, like I said, converted my studio. But let's get to the nitty gritty of do-over.
Right. You know what? And before we run out of time, I told you, girl, that's why I'm scripted for this part, because you see how I talk. I just go on and on and on and on and on. And eventually, sometimes I need to have the light in front of me. But okay, right. I'm not going to even worry about that because I have a hard time in this. But anyway, what I really want to get to, because I said there were 3 parts to this process, and that was the reflecting on your life and looking forward. I think we ended with the reflecting on your life about you don't have to announce that you're going to get a do-over. You ain't got to tell everybody running around, just like Nike say, just do it. It's your life. And because of the fact, you know why it's so necessary that you know, because those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. You know, just do you. And you know, in the looking forward process, you just discover your purpose. Then once you give yourself permission to do this do-over, then you discover the purpose for doing that do-over. And you set the goals and make the decisions to do that do-over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then take a new route.
I like that. I like that.
You can't go down the same path. Take a new route. Because you got to surprise yourself. Learn something that, you know, you didn't know. You know, somebody, you know, be adventurous, you know, because that's how you're going to make the new decisions with this do-over that you're really trying to do. And then celebrate your progress. You got to celebrate the progress, because some of the milestones may be very long-term. So that means you got to take bite-sized celebrations. You know?
All right.
Bite-sized celebrations. Now here is the good part for me, is getting the outcome that you want.
Okay. That's the best part.
Yeah, that's the good part. After you done reflected and you done moved forward, looking forward, now it's time to get that game plan going, you know? And the game plan of getting what it is you really want. And there are 5 things you must identify.
Okay.
To do that.
Okay.
But first, you got to identify what the challenging situation is.
Wow. Okay.
You got that? Well, okay, so I'm getting this do-over. So what's going to be challenging about this do-over? Because I can't make the same mistakes. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've learned something. I have no regrets. So I'm propelling myself forward. So then I got to sit down and get my game plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and find out what's the most challenging thing about that.
Okay. Well, you want me to answer?
Go ahead.
For me, it would be to do over how would it, after I reflect everything, it affect the people in my environment, meaning it would be my child. Would it harm him, or would it do some damage? That's, I guess, basically the same thing. Would it harm him in the decision I'm making for me?
Okay. Then, after you decided that that's the challenging situation, identify the best possible outcome. So I'm carrying you through. You're going through this exercise now.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. Basically, I guess to give him a warm up or pre up before it actually happened of what it could be, like a
No, no,
pre
no,
up,
no,
like,
no, 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 no. I said, what's the best possible outcome
oh,
when you face, when you face the challenging situation? What's the best possible outcome?
best outcome, he'd be independent and be able to go on his way.
Okay. What's the worst possible outcome?
That he crash and burn.
What's the most likely? Identify the most likely. All of you are identifying these things. I used to say identify the most likely, identify. So you're identifying. So
Right.
identify the most likely outcome.
Oh gosh.
Because that's what's really gonna happen. The most likely outcome is what's gonna really happen.
The most likely would be that I would actually probably what I've been known to do is reroute, rethink, and restructure.
Okay. So you're headed for the most likely outcome to get what you want. So identify one thing that you would do to move towards the most likely outcome.
Get them prepared.
So what does that look? I mean, that really, doctor, that don't say nothing.
Okay.
I didn't want to go there this evening with you, but
well, for me, it's like I would have to.
Just one thing.
Oh gosh, one thing.
To move in the direction of the most likely outcome. What did you say? The most likely? You've identified the most likely outcome. What would that be?
I would basically rechange it. Like it would be changed. It wouldn't be the outcome that I want. I can tell you that. I would change.
So how are you going to change on the way to your do-over towards the most likely outcome? Because I'm just asking.
It probably wouldn't be a do-over. It would be the same. I'm going to be honest with you, but it wouldn't, because
it would be a whole new thing, wouldn't it?
Right, because
now what did we start out talking about? See, that's what's usually happens.
Mm-hmm.
We started out talking about one specific thing that we would do over. Mm-hmm. And as we move through the process, if we're not conscious, you got a whole new thing set up over here.
Yep. And that's true. But that's a pattern, I know. So that's why I'm preparing him. Look, this is what life is like, because I know that that's what I've done in the past, and that's what I've done while I'm actually here in USA because of, that circumstances.
Mm-hmm. And
I know this, and I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
Aren't we all? That's the beauty about life being a journey.
Yes.
And that's the beauty about realizing that you can have many do-overs.
Right.
Have many do-overs. Because as you said, as we grow, mature, learn more. And that's one of the reasons why I have more knowledge now to rethink the decision that I made. I would love to have a do-over, to live in that community again, to learn all the lessons that I had. I just would have gone into it having made a different kind of decision. See? So I'm getting a second chance to do what I did the first time, because most of the time when we want to do over is because we really did want to do what we did, even if we got pain and suffering or whatever. Most of the times when I've done that in my workshops, when we go, because our workshop goes about 3 or 4 hours. So most of the time when I've done that in the workshop, because we go through meditation, we go through the experience, and we take fantasy journeys on the meditation and the fantasy journey, then everybody explains. So that's 3 or 4 hours, and then we break and have lunch. That's why it takes that long. But most of the time, it was something that caused them pain as a result of not having the information that they actually needed, or even to know to look for that information. So they would still want to have that experience without the pain and suffering.
Right, right. See, at least I know. Like I said, keep doing over until you get the results you want. So,
but you gotta identify, because you see, that's why the number one thing is to identify the challenging situation. Because even though you're getting a do-over and you get many do-overs, you really don't want to have a do-over on the same thing 3 or 4 times.
right.
You know? So you gotta identify the challenging situation. And once you identify that challenging situation, then you got to think of what's the best possible outcome. What is the best? In fact, I overlaid that on, I got real excited while I was studying, researching my book, editors and publishers and all that. And one day, this thing clicked up on the screen that this particular publishing company was having a sale, but the day was the last day of the sale and you had to get in. And oh God, it looked so good and everything was just right. And I just jumped on it right quick, got all in it, got muddled all down, looked at it. It was like, oh man, I didn't even think about this. And then I started reading the contract. Oh no, I want out of this. No, y'all can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And I called the people and we were going back and forth. And then I just stopped and I said, okay, I need a do-over. I didn't really read the contract right. Now that I've read it, they do get to keep a portion of my money. It's not their fault, but I couldn't get the contract until I agreed that I was going to go for this sale. It was a package.
Mm-hmm.
And also inside that package, there was another. In other words, they could have very well ended up keeping almost 95% of the money. So they would be getting paid up front and I would get nothing. I made the mistake. Because I couldn't get their contract until I signed up. But they tell you you could terminate the contract, 0 to whatever days, but I wanted to terminate it on that 0 day. So there was a $75 fee that was not going to be, you was just going to have to pay it. But I wanted to fight it and get all my money back. So I stopped and I took this and said, okay, I need to do over. And so I took those processes. And so I said, what's the challenging situation here? The challenging situation that would be to get all my money back. That was going to be challenging. Okay, what was the best possible outcome? Get all my money back. That was the best part. What would be the worst was that they kept half of the money because the termination fees came to half of the money that I gave them. So they would have been making half of the money for no work at all.
Right.
So what would be the most likely outcome? So I said the most likely outcome is for me to calm down, try to work out a situation with these people, and accept responsibility for part of it. Be willing to pay one of the fees and not more. And then to admit to them, of course I had them over there because I told them that was high pressure sale and why would you notify me? And that was the only, day that the sale was lasting. Who does that, And of course it was COVID-19 had just started. So I kind of, I used everything I had. And it came out that I got the most likely outcome. I had to go ahead and pay that non-negotiable one-time fee, not both of those termination fees. And I was okay because I got 3/4 of my money back.
Okay.
So that was a do-over.
See, that's beautiful.
Yeah, laying that template over the situation. So
there you go. It makes sense because that's what I'm trying to do with my little person. I keep saying little, but he's not little. But yeah, because I want a better outcome and I don't want to worry. So for me, he is my biggest worry and he's also my biggest thing of why I don't do as much as that I know that I can do. And I try to plant stuff. But I'm learning, I'm making him a lot more independent. And I refuse to take that burden. It's just me that have to grow and learn. He has to also grow and learn. And he's got to be wanting to be willing to grow and learn from what's going on around him. And he needs to take responsibility of him being an adult. So I have been working.
That doesn't sound like is that really a do-over? You're helping him matriculate to adulthood. That's no do-over.
Well, yeah, it is, because he needs to be an adult. Sometimes I feel like he's a little teenager. That's a do-over. He gonna be a grown man. That's a do-over.
Why is that a do-over? He's never been a grown man before.
Well, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're like, I didn't even think about it like that. I guess, yeah, you're right.
Dr. D, I have to stay on you, though, because you'll get by.
I'm trying to think, like, I don't know. Like I said, I know I want to do over, and I'm working on a do over.
But what do you want to do over?
I want him to be more independent.
You can't do him over. He's a human being.
You didn't say that.
Only he can do him over.
He say that. Because I'm the mama, so I figure I can do it over again.
However, I will do you over. I will make you what I want to make you be. Nah. For anybody who's listening or watching, that is not what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to do people over.
It's a joke. Y'all know that I can't do him over. Y'all know that. But for me, I am doing a do-over. I'm doing over in my status in life. You know what I mean? I've decided I didn't want to be single. And that's a decision you really got to make. And I've been working on what I want as a mate, and been given some interesting choices of some of the things I wanted. They're just missing just one little criteria, and that criteria really makes a big difference to me.
It's really important to you, huh?
Yes, it's a big difference. But that's a do-over, because I'm used to doing it by myself and being strong and independent and not waiting for anybody. And I decided, you know what, I want to do this in this latter part of my years with a mate. And I want to share my teachings with my mate that we can walk in harmony and do together. So I am not out there doing it by myself.
So what's the most challenging situation in that?
You're
okay, you don't have to say it, but give me one challenging situation.
Okay, all right.
You don't have to identify the challenging situation. Just give me one.
I'm glad you're doing that, because that's the most challenging thing. The challenging thing right now is because we're in covert and meeting people that would have similar interests in a different way. Normally you're going out, you're able to meet, you're able to socialize, and I'm not in that environment. So that's the most challenging thing right now. I am not able to place myself in that kind of environment and have to use secondary resources. I feel it would be better. I'm a more in-person kind of a person than a computer kind of a person. Mm-hmm. So I learned that about myself, how I come across. So I reflect that. So now it's trying to figure out where in this digital world I can meet someone of my mind, concept, and belief system that we can actually meet, whether it's in really don't like dating sites, but in other organizations that I'm involved in, that they would be involved in, that we would have in common. So I definitely know that that's what we have to have common interests and what my cause are. It can't be secondary.
Okay, so the do-over would be you're taking on a mate with, different thought pattern, different process. And the most challenging situation here is the COVID, with the COVID and, you know, not really wanting to do that online and that. So under the circumstances, what would be the best outcome, best possible outcome under the circumstances? We'll just forget you don't want to do it. This is what we're faced with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So in those circumstances, what do you think would be the best possible? And it looks like we do have to hurry up and wrap it up because we got about 5 more minutes.
The best outcome would basically maybe have some friends, maybe introduce me to someone, you know, that would figure that is single, that would, you know, mate.
Right.
And I said friends.
That makes a
not
difference.
Associates.
A friend who knows you.
Right. To introduce to me. And I say friends because family don't really understand the depth of what I am, because you're just that little girl. And I learned that no, they wouldn't. So that would.
So what would be the worst possible outcome?
I wind up with what I've been getting.
Okay. We'll skip over that. What would be the most likely outcome? That will probably, when you're given the worst and the best possible, you're going to land somewhere in the middle, which is going to be the most likely. What do you think is going to be the most likely outcome?
I'm going to meet somebody with the work I'm doing and what I'm doing somewhere in that realm, and either in an organization or either in the things that I'm doing, most likely, whether it's service to somebody else. I'm going to meet them in that capacity, most likely.
So what one thing can you do to move, or what one thing are you doing to move in the direction of the most likely?
Ooh.
Did you say you want to do over?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I'm like, my mind is like, ooh, okay. Now, how do I go about that?
I'm not doing it today.
Okay. Well, I'm in a lot of little.
Just name one thing that you could do, that you can do to move in the direction of the most likely.
Talk to some of my male friends that know me and would have my best interests. There are some male counterparts that know, you know, someone that is upstanding and have some substance, and see if they'd be willing to make an introduction. That's it.
Ooh. So you just might get your most likely. You might get your most likely outcome. That's what I'm saying. You just might get your most likely outcome.
Right.
That can help move you in the direction of your do-over. Okay. That's why we say that everybody, but it's a process like everything else.
Right.
Like everything else, it's a process. And then you have processes within the process, which is why it is so important that we become connected with ourselves, become connected inwardly. Because until you know who you are, you're not going to know what it is. You'll there again be looking after your wants rather than your needs. And always be saying, I can't find nobody. I'm just using your example. You know what I mean? We always I can't find anybody, or what do I do? And it's because the hardest part for us is do the self-work, you know, and doing our do-over, the hardest thing, because you can't do it over outside of yourself. You got to take that inward journey. You got to take that journey inward, which is the name of the nonprofit, you know, Journey Inward.
Journey Inward. So where can people reach you at? Because this has been fabulous. That, you know, we can go on and on, but we're not going to do that. It's not that kind of show.
For Women of the Red Tent, the email is redtent17@gmail.com. The website, youempoweryouinc.com. That's you, the letter U, the word empower, the letter U, inc.com. And that was really interesting how we came up with that name, because no matter what services we give a person, no matter where we lead them, no matter how many times they come, I can only provide the soil for you to grow in, but you empower you.
Ashe. That makes a sense. So, my lovely people, this has been the Food Alchemist. And you've been listening to Food Alchemy Network Part 2 live on Zoom that we go over. And you'll be watching this on YouTube and Tumblr and all my social medias for you guys out there that really like this content. Please put a comment at the bottom if you have any questions for me and you want to get in touch with Sista Fabu. Please look at the box above or below where I have all the information for the Red Tent email, as well as You Empower Inc.
You Empower You.
You Empower You Inc.com. You look down there, Sista Fabu, and you look at it and look for her book coming. Soon as her book is off the presses, we will have her back again and it'll be live. And it will probably be live on, hopefully by BGN. You think we could?
Won't that be wonderful?
So we have another network. I mean, I don't have it. It's not my network. Okay, let me clarify that. I don't own this network. This is my network, Food Alchemy Network. But BGN has another network of media called Black Gold Nation Media. So my goal is to work on getting this done when she got her book out a little bit before, to make a book tour, whether it's virtue, am I projecting, or whatever.
Whatever. We're putting it in the universe.
All right. That it be successful. So we look forward to you reaching out to Sista Fabu or myself if you like the content. Even if you didn't, it's okay. Let me know what you learned, because I know you learned something. It's always about learning, educating, upgrading, and moving on. And it's been fabulous being your host on Food Alchemy Network.
Can we say one thing just right quick, since we're talking about BGN? Invite everybody to the Revolutionary Code episode tomorrow night. I know that it's Thursday. I know that it's 9:00 my time, Central Time. So it's either going to be an hour ahead or 2 hours behind for some people. But it's going to be on Zoom. And it's on our Facebook page as well. Okay. So we encourage everybody to take a look at that Revolutionary Code.
Go down at the bottom and find the information, because as this video convert, it'll be up tonight. Now that's working quick. You guys know, like, I done did 6 videos. Y'all better be happy. So if you like what you did, subscribe to my channel below. It's been lovely. I want to say ashe, aho, namaste. What else? Salam alaikum.
Bye.
There you go. Adios. It's been real. Long life, and longevity, people. Love.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Thank you for having me.
Love you too. Welcome.
All right.